So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at how you take the assessment data that you took from the assessment and how you use it to use the scoring and then how you use that to go and use the primary numeracy framework. So let's take a look. This is just a snippet part from the assessment. Obviously, it's going to look very familiar. This is just the part from the profile page at the very beginning that you use to record your data to as like a cheat sheet. And then obviously this is from the counting part from the primary numeracy framework. So look, we're going to go through a scenario and I'm going to show you what it looks like and we'll look at what this has for the implications for instruction as well. So say you go through and you're giving this assessment and you have a student who is a level B of mastery, which means they can count up to 22. Okay, so you gave them this, they were able to count to 22, but for whatever reason they weren't able to get through level C. So, these would have maybe a check or an X or an accident, but we've determined that level B is their level. So what you would do is once you have that level B on the very front page, which is where this can be located right here, you would go ahead and you would put a check mark in that box. That means that they are a level B, okay? And then that means that they can count to 22. Remember, level B means it's a mastery of a particular skill, and the skill is the ability to count from 9 up until 22. So then when you go to the framework and you go to map it, you would go ahead and they would put for level B. So what does this have for implications for their instruction? Now think about it. If a student is a level B and it means that they can count up to 22, for instructional purposes, it means we're not going to be working on anything that has to do with level B because they already have mastery of that. So what it means is if they are a level B, we are going to be bridging the next group of numbers is really going to be working from 23 up to 113. So our range is growing on what we're going to work on. Okay. So again, if you take a look at the framework down here or right here, what we're actually doing is, now you wouldn't draw this on there, but it's just showing, okay, if they're testing at this level right here, level B, we know that if they have mastery of it, we've documented that our instruction is going to begin at level C. But what if a student cannot count to 10? What will that look like? Because most students who do take this assessment, this is really designed for, mid to end of the year, first graders, second graders, third graders. Most kids will orally be able to count to 10. However, sometimes you just may have a situation. So if you have a student who cannot count to 10, all you would do is, if you take a look, go ahead and use that X, right? And that X just means that they were unable to do that skill. Now, when you go over to the front page, to the profile page, there's two ways that you can do this. You can go ahead and you can just put an X in that box. And remember, X would mean that they can't do it. If you think you may get confused and say, well, I put an X in that box, and does that mean that they can do it or can't do it? You also can just put an X right outside the box so they know, like, okay, they definitely were not a level A. So again, if you'll get confused between using X's and checks, you can go ahead and do that. So when you go through and you go to the framework to map it, here's what it's going to look like. You would go ahead and you would put that X right there and think, it's not really a level X, but what we're saying is that if X is their starting point, we know that, well, they need to receive instruction at level A, and so that's what would happen. They would receive their instruction at level A. And that is just the basics. Now, the next slide that we're going to do, we'll look more at the instructional materials and using the level activities guide with a lot of the materials so we can see what that looks like as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what the leveled activities guide, and we're going to explain what this is designed to do because some people have some confusion with this. So I just want to go over this again, what this is designed to do. It says the activities guide has already adjusted the level for you. You do not need to go to the next level. Just look at the tested level and look down. So for example, take a look at this, okay? So say you have a student who tested at a level A, okay? So you went through and you filled out your framework and you plotted that right there. What this is designed to do is say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and look at level A. And remember, level A means they could successfully count up to 10. So if you take a look here, it'll say, count counters on a 10 or 20 frame or 20 rack, or a 10 rack or 20 rack, or calculate a count up to 10 or 20. So what you need to understand is level A is designed for two things. One, for kids who level X means that you would be working on level A, but you would be choosing up to 10, because remember, if they're that level X, it means they couldn't count to 10. If you have a student who is a level A, you would just go ahead and look at level A and you know that you're going to be working towards 20, okay? So even though this level X and level A are going to be looking at the same place, you need to know level A. Yes, if your kids can count to 10, you're going to go ahead and choose the 20. You're going to work on the range of up to 20 on all these things. And for a student who can't count to 10, you would go ahead and look at it that way. Okay. So again, if you take a look at level B now, let's take a look at level B. Level B says they can sort of count up to 20 and back from 23. So this is level B, but if you take a look, level C, it's saying calculator count greater than 20. So it's already accounting for, we're working on numbers greater than 20, and we're going to go up to essentially, 113. So take a look. These numbers, even though this is level B, it means they can go up to 20. These are all greater. So you're looking, and then again with level C, it means they can count up to 113 and back from 73. Take a look. Calculator count past 113. So it's just the ranges of numbers is changing. So this is meant to be like a very quick cheat sheet. I have a student who's a level B, I look, and this is giving me the activities. All right. So again, if a student is a level A, you're going to look at level A and just choose the 20 range instead of the 10 range, all right? If a student is, is unable to count to 10 and they're sort of that level X or that starting point, you're going to go to level A and you're just going to focus in on the 10, the range of 10 instead of the range of 20. All right, and everything else will be done that way. So this is what it's designed to do is you can look at it and then you just go straight down with your eyes. You don't have to do any adjusting. If you look at level B and then you jump and you say, oh, I'm going to work on level C, you're going to realize this range are numbers that they haven't even worked on yet. So that's why you'll stay. One thing I want to make clear too is remember if they're that level X right there, that just means they're working on level A and you're choosing the 10 range instead of the 20. Now, if you take a look here, these are the e-lessons that go along with it. Now, with the e-lessons, you need to understand this. When using the e-lessons and workbook, you do need to adjust to the next level. And it sounds more complex than it is. So if you have a student who's a level A, right? If you work on level A, you're going to realize this is just the range up to 10. So if they're a level A mastery, you know that you need to go to level B because that's the next range of numbers, all right? And even if you do make a mistake and work at the wrong level, it's going to click like, hey, they can already count to 10, so why are we working on the numbers between 0 and 10? And that's what it's designed to do.